This is, again, the Blue Star neighborhood is hosting this cyber scams webinar on emerging trends and technologies that could be impacting the service members, veterans, and their families. So I just want to welcome everybody. We have a great panelist here from Pause Take 9, Blue Star neighborhood, which would be me as well, and then the Public Service Alliance. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So first, I would like to introduce our panelists just very briefly before we get in here. First, on here, we have Amira Dalla from the Cyber Civil Defense Director from Aspen Digital. And she is also our advocate for a really great initiative called Pause Take 9, which we'll hear a lot about in the second half of this webinar. So Amira is here. And then we have Isa Ulloa. She is the founder of the Public Service Alliance. So another great partnership that we have that helps with people who are in public service, which is very, very similar to serving this country or being a veteran. So a lot of the similar veins of scams and different things that are affecting them. And then I am your host today, Benjamin Saldana. I am the cybersecurity manager for Blue Star Families. So I am the person with hands on keyboard protecting Blue Star Families every single day that we go out and complete our mission. So quick agenda. So I will be going over first kind of the military community scams and trends that we're seeing, just to give you a little bit of awareness. And then we'll kind of switch over to my favorite part, the how to protect yourself, the nice, save yourself from some of these things. And then we'll share some resources and then open it up. I want to make sure if there's any questions from the community that we can answer them. So here we are, the scams targeting military community. So I always like to start with my why. So why the military? Why military? Why veterans? Why this community? Why even public service? It's very easy to see. So steady income and benefits. It's something that a lot of people know that we have, and they want access. They want their little piece of it. But also a public paper trail. Very external, public service, also being a military member, your DD-14, VA records, different stuff like that. Different things that you've done could be used, could be seen, and then you have a nice little profile of ways to contact you. But you also, a lot of things that people forget about, the insider knowledge. Current, even former military members, they have firsthand awareness and knowledge of things going on in the military, whether it's deployment stuff, operational things of how they work, just other sensitive information that someone might want to have access to. And then frequent transitions. That's one that comes up a lot. For us in the military community, might be PCS moves, deployments, different stuff like that. Even trainings, you're on the move, you're already stressed out trying to do stuff. It's really tough to tell when some urgent comes across and you're not 100% sure if it's a scam or not. And I do always like to put some stats in here. So the FTC did report for veterans and their families, 684 million in 2025. Which was a 17% jump from 2024. And that's scams across everything, across all different sectors, all different tactics. So it's just important to keep in mind that this is an ongoing thing and it is growing, unfortunately. So we want to put out resources like this to make sure you're aware. And I want to cover this of what we mean by emerging technology. So when we say emerging technology for this, a lot of it is going to be that artificial intelligence or other advanced tools that kind of make the bad actors have an easier time. They're faster, more convincing, a little bit harder to detect depending on how they use it. And we'll cover a few of the different tactics that they're using AI and these great technologies to kind of overcome, the manual processes that used to happen a lot. So the first one that I would like to cover is the AI voice cloning. So this might be something that everyone has heard about, but it's something that I know was kind of one of the top topics that came up when I did my research. But yeah, scammers can definitely pull a few seconds of audio from us, from you, even just to create audio. I know that's one thing that comes up a lot. The scam calls that used to come through and say, it was very robotic, and you're like, okay, that's obviously not from my bank. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that. But nowadays, they can throw that into AI and say, hey, give me somebody with a Midwestern accent from the US and have them read the script. They read the script, they record it, and then they push it out to people, and it sounds a lot more convincing. So that's a way that AI can get in the middle there. But clone voices, an urgent call, this is one of the ones that is kind of a high risk right now. is getting a voicemail or a call from somebody that you potentially know saying, hey, I need bail. Hey, I'm in an emergency. I just got in an accident. Can you help me? Can you wire me money right now? And when you're in those really quick, they're tearing on, pulling on your heartstrings and your emotions, it can sometimes take a toll on you to figure out whether this is real or not. And a resource that I would like to call out real quick is Stay Safe Online. So they have a safe word campaign, and I put the URL here, but you can even just Google it. Amazing. The resources there, it'll show you how advanced they have gotten with voice cloning. And also, there's a really great game on there where you have to convince an AI tool that you're human. So it's a really great exercise in talking to one and seeing how well it communicates and keys in on you. But also, I had a really hard time, maybe you will too, but to convince it that you're human, which is something that happens with this type of stuff. So, and then the deep fake videos and misinformation. So this is something that's coming out a lot with social media. It's also very difficult. The AI generated video has gotten so good and so convincing that it's real footage. Sometimes it can get dismissed as fake, or some people actually believe that some of these AI videos are real. When this comes into the scams, is a lot of these videos will be of a fake AI video saying, "Hey, are you sure you got your 100% disability?" Stuff like that, where it's like, "Hey, you need to click on this link so that you can make sure you got this." That's now an AI video instead of a real actor who's coming out and saying, this is why you should come with us to check on your VA benefits. So, but bad actors exploit that confusion and spread false claims, impersonate trusted voices, just like the VA and different things that we trust to give us good information, and make people doubt legitimate alerts or information. So just like here on the side, this is one that I actually saw in the last few months, and I saw people share it to me on Facebook and different social media platforms with like, "Hey, check this out." I didn't think much of it at the moment. And then a week later, when it came out, scam alert, the VA itself came out and said, "Hey, we're not giving out free athletic shoes. I'm real sorry that somebody did this AI flyer for free athletic shoes. It's not real and we're not doing it." But those are the type of things. It eroded the trust a little bit. You thought the VA, you called them up, you tried to, contact your care and say, "Hey, I want those free shoes." And they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So just erodes the trust a little bit as we do that. So one of the big ones that in my research, be careful with sharing your biometric information. Uploading the picture can be very fun. I know I see them on sometimes where it's like, "Hey, what do you look like at 100 years old?" Amazing. It's great technology to see what you would look like. But sometimes those can be, you click on a link, it takes you way away from social media. Next thing you know, you're in a dark corner of the internet, sharing all your photos or sharing, "Hey, let me do a face scan." You still get the 100-year-old thing, but who knows what happened to your information, for those pictures that you uploaded at that time. So AI powered data profiling is actually how the bad actors get the most out of AI and these technologies. So scammers use AI to rapidly bring all this information together. So they can cross-reference things, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, records that they find online, just a Google search of your name, stuff like that. That can all be put together within a minute. And then they have a profile. They have all sorts of fun information about you. That used to take hours, and it used to be, is it worth it? Do I really want to search Amira Dalla for 6 hours and try to find everything I know about her? Maybe, it depends on what I'm trying to do that day. But now it can be done in such quick amount of time, and it's called kind of a data profiling. They get a nice little short list of everything they know about you, and it can just help the scams. What bank you use, are you a veteran? Those type of things can really help to craft and shape the scams that they push you away. And my be careful for this one is be careful what you post and fill out online. Even small details, the smallest little details just help shape even more, connect the dots of different things that they didn't know. They didn't know you moved across different states. Now they do. Now that, now they see you posting about daycares. So just, try and keep it private and assume that anything out on the public, someone could be looking at or using for not the best reasons. So. And this is one that I wanted to cover for veterans. So I know we all transition out. I'm a veteran myself, an active duty military spouse. So I actually have to deal with these quite a bit. I get emails, I get calls weekly, daily, all the time. But AI is now being used to create really convincing job postings and fake recruiter outreach. And that goes back to the data profiling a little bit, where they see, okay, you have experience in these type of things from your LinkedIn, and they'll craft something that's so perfectly like, it's you. All your experience adds up to this. It's right where you live. It's exactly what you were looking for. And they shoot you an email trying to say, hey, I'm a recruiter for XY company and you're a perfect fit. Just send me this, send me your birth certificate or your ID so that we can get the process going. And, it kind of falls from there. So, but the VA has even warned transitioning and unhoused veterans about job offers promising easy money for minimal effort. And I always go with the same thing that your mom, any of our moms would probably say is like, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is, because it is, for a lot of these. But that's why even in the second half of this webinar, we'll show you there's some really great tools and resources on how to kind of navigate these things. And again, the FTC reporting that employment scam losses jumped from 90 million to 501 in the last in 20 to 2024. So that is huge, that they're seeing that there's a market there, and that, unfortunately people are falling for these scams, sending money, hoping for a remote job, stuff like that. So even in the AI government and benefits phishing area, there's a lot of phishing emails that clone a lot of the resources and the infrastructures that we trust a lot. VA, TRICARE, different agencies, different login pages and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to clone nowadays using AI. And these attacks definitely impersonate those benefit portals or systems that we all trust and we all use every single day. So sometimes it can be hard to navigate and see exactly what they're doing. And again, another FTC, because they do the best reporting on this, military connected consumers lost 584 million in 2024. So another big jump. It continues to jump because the military and veteran community is definitely targeted more than our civilian counterparts on a lot of these. And I'll pass it off to Isa on this one.
Hi, everybody. Isa Ulloa at the Public Service Alliance, and it's good to be here with you today, though I wish it was under different circumstances. First and foremost, thanks so much to each of you and to your families for your service. And second, please know that the folks on this call and in our broader networks are here always, and we have your back. I'm the last speaker standing between you and the second half of this conversation, which is much more solutions oriented, which makes me feel good because this is a group that has a bias toward action. But I want to underscore a couple things that I think are really relevant. So to what Benjamin has been sharing, scammers are consistently getting more sophisticated about how they seek to commit fraud against this community. And a lot of what you will hear about in the second half of this webinar is how to keep up in a way that will help you and your family be better protected. But what you're going to hear us talk about is a people and tech-centered approach to this in terms of the problem solving, because as the technology continues to get more sophisticated, there's just a lot more gaps that can be exploited. So three things that I really want to hammer home in terms of how most scammers approach the folks that they are trying to exploit. They're trying to generate a sense of panic that lowers, our cognitive processing ability. They're trying to provide a really clear and simple action that can be taken in that state of panic. And then they're trying to drive you to take that action. And so what you'll hear Amira talk about in a bit is the importance of the pause, to be able to discern what you should do to ensure that the person that you are speaking to is who they say they are, and that they have good intentions in mind. I won't, reiterate the rest of what's on this slide. I think Benjamin did a really good job of explaining the many examples, unfortunate examples of how we see scams and fraud proliferating today, in very, ways that look very credible. So really what we just want to, again, reiterate is that almost every single scheme has this combination of panic, action, and drive. And we want to ensure that you have the resources to be able to manage that effectively. So Amir, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Isa, and thanks, Benjamin. It's so great to be here with you all today. And this is a community we are deeply all committed to protecting online, and we appreciate your service and want to make sure that you are safe while you do so, and your family members are safe, and the unintended consequences of scams and frauds, which can have deep emotional, mental, and physical impacts, which are affecting every American in the country at this time. So just as a awareness level setting, like there is no shame in falling for them. Actually, we need to talk more about them, and we need to engage those around us. So as we get into how to protect yourself and your communities, on the next slide, the first point is really to what I was just mentioning, which is have conversations around attacks, scams, and frauds with your communities to make sure they're aware of what is happening, how is this looking, what are the potentials around scams and fraud specific for the community, the military, vets, and families community. You all have actions that are undeniably in line with what you know as part of life and service, which means they are quite predictable to a lot of scammers and fraudsters, and they prey upon those. And so being able to share these stories with each other, or trending ways you are seeing this, actually not only keeps you abreast, but also keeps everyone around you aware of how members are being targeted. And awareness is a really good first step to doing so and combating frauds and scams. And then I also just want to really quickly call out that, there's many ways we're going to strengthen our skills around this. I'll talk a little bit today about how we strengthen digital skills, such as pausing, verifying content, red flags, and personal information, which Benjamin already covered in a lot of ways. But there are a lot of security measures you can also take to protect yourself, and ways in which, if instances like scams and frauds occur, because they are sneaky, they are smart, they are using AI to leverage to target you in ways that has never happened before, and being even more sophisticated, we will make sure you are secure where you are. And so we'll talk about that as well. And then I just want to share here very briefly, we talked about like how scams and frauds are becoming more sophisticated. I just want to call out that there are many ways in which this community has specifically been targeted in the past, historically, and these are things you should consider. So watching out for government imposters, direct deposit fraud, phishing attacks, identity theft, payment redirection, and social media scams. You know your actions more than anyone else, but the more you move and relocate and look for jobs and do these actions that you know are very common and almost predictable from an outsider's point of view, that is also predictable from a fraudster's point of view. And so they will often be in these spaces targeting you with these type of fake jobs or fake advertisements that you just want to be aware of. So on all platforms, in all spaces, I like to say have your spidey sense turned up. If something, like Benjamin said, feels too good to be true, it probably is. And if something feels off, it probably is as well. And if it isn't, it's always good to do a double verification. Okay, great. So I also want to just introduce Take 9 in this moment. Take 9 is a national cybersecurity awareness campaign helping protect you against scams and frauds. We are so excited to have recently launched with the best, most impactful, most favorite, all the et ceteras, Count Von Count as our national counter to help us get to the Take 9 in 9. And so what we've done with Count Von Count is release a national campaign that is in your inboxes, in the streets, on television, really talking to people about what it means to take 9 seconds, and also like why we slow down and how we count to 9, which we trust him so much to do. And also the campaign has lots of ways and opportunities and resources to help support individuals of all types to get plugged into the mission and where to go and how to protect yourself. And so on the next slide is the website to where you can navigate yourself. I encourage you to go there because we have a page called Protect Yourself where you can actually get basics and advanced protections. So I'll cover some of the basics in this conversation. And also there are tons more advanced things you can do. There's tools, there's guides, there's tons of information on, and even places where you can report if you've been scammed. We've got tons of materials on our social account, getting you integrated into making sure scams and frauds is part of the things you're aware of and the checklist of things that you are thinking about on a regular basis. And so I encourage you to visit there as well, learn more about the campaign, sign up for our newsletter, because we share lots of information in there, including our trending scams, which I have a slide on in a bit, but we want to make sure we're keeping you up to date and aware and filled with resources as much as anything else. Okay, so when I talk about Take 9, which is, the national campaign created by Craig Newmark Philanthropy, the first thing many people want to ask about is why 9? And what do I do in 9 seconds? So in the first part, I really just want to emphasize that in difficult situations, experts recommend that you take 10 seconds before responding to anything. In the world of online and lots of noise, marketers and everyone else says you've got 9 seconds max before someone's about to check out, or 9 seconds max to sway anyone. This is why we have 99 cents versus $1 on a lot of things. And so we've cut the difference and we've gone with 9 to really engage people, to get them to slow down and take those 9 seconds whenever they're about to click or do something online, or they feel that sense of urgency. So Isa talked a lot earlier about what it means to be rushed into decision making. Scammers and fraudsters are preying on the fact that you are not going to think before you click. And our entire message is that in a world full of malicious attackers coming and trying to convince you to do something really quickly, our best and first line of defense is really to just slow down. So that 9 seconds really allows you to take a momentary pause to slow down. Now, what we do in the campaign is we say 9 seconds slowing down is like a great first step. As your second step, we're going to work with you on being like, what can you do to spot these flags? What can you do to think about in these 9 seconds? And we know that scammers are using social engineering tactics. We know AI is propelling this to be able to reveal your information. So in those 9 seconds, we want you to verify. So check with who's the person who sent the message. Make sure that it is a real person. Make sure that the information on the person looks real. Even if it's a person you can verify them outside of that message and that platform to be like, hey, is this real? I promise I did this morning. I asked someone, was this message real? Because something about it just felt off. And they were able to verify on the spot. Review for any of the language, including weird phrasing or requests. If someone is saying you have to do something immediately, that urgency is a red flag. Nothing in this world often needs to be done in, there's a lot that needs to be done urgently. But when it comes to like signing in or getting booted out of your account or something happening very directly to you online, you tend to have a little bit more time and agency to figure that out. So, if someone is telling you need to do X before you get kicked out of your account, or something's going to happen, or you're about to lose this really great deal, make sure you just slow down, check it in a different spot. And there's a lot of like email addresses, URL and wording that does feel off, that really comes up regularly for people. And so, you know, you want to make sure you hover over and you check what that is. And we'll go through a bigger list of, you know, how to spot the red flags. But in those 9 seconds, check, review, and spot are the top 3 things you can do. And once you do that, you've got the tools you need to make a decision going forward. And before we get to the red flags, I do want to just pause on the next slide to go through some of the trending scams, because this is where we are more informed. Now, when we're more informed, we're able to make better decisions. We're able to spot things. We're able to say, oh, this is what I heard this person saying or doing, or this happened to this person, and I knew that I shouldn't fall for this, or here's what we need to be aware of in the spaces we show up. As someone who's worked in technology for a very long time, I never tell people that they don't have to show up in the spaces they show up, but we just want to give you the skills so that when you do, and if you feel and spot these flags, you know what to do and you know the risks of what's associated. So I will say in the United States right now, the amount of people getting text messages about unpaid tolls, sometimes from cities they've never visited, or UPS packages, sometimes from places they've never ordered from or no packages ordered, has been rising quite rapidly. You might have received them yourself. I've gotten them myself as well. And so those are the type of trends that we spot, we share, and we make sure people are aware of. We have tons of other scams here on, you know, if you're on Facebook Marketplace, like being aware on how to protect yourself there, or on dating apps with romance scams, you know, notario scams, funeral scams, and quishing and other sorts of stuff to really prevent you from scanning QR codes that you don't know and things like that. So I do recommend, so you can see these actually all on pausetake9.org. And if you sign up for a newsletter, we send you a monthly email in your inbox that really talks about these trending scams and what to stay aware of as you navigate the web. But we're going to go back to spotting red flags. So on the next slide, I'm just going to cut back into, you know, what is it we're looking for? So we talked about some of these already, the urgency, if someone is connecting you out of the blue or random, even if you know them, asking for sensitive information. You know, sometimes a lot of people use the branding of large corporations or people you might know. And so you always want to be really aware of that. I would never click on an attachment. I didn't know what I was expecting. But also a lot of browsers and platforms make sure that they now review for unsolicited attachments or viruses. And I would really listen to the prompts that are shared there. We talked about it being too good to be true. I want those great sneakers as much as you do, but there's no way they're going to be $5.99 compared to $500 on market. You know, sometimes there's weird structure or greetings, and this sounds like dear madam, dear sir. A lot of our banks know our name and they will address us by our name, but they won't address us by blank scriptures that they've probably propagated from elsewhere. And also just sometimes weird structures are a good flag as well. And then if you are being told, I said this earlier, like if there's an error on your account, that part is, you know, it can happen, but you should directly reach out to your account and to be able to reach out to them and call them via a different line. What I usually do is I just go to like google.org, go to any search engine and type in the name of, one time I got a scam email about owing taxes to the IRS. And I went to the browser, I put in the IRS, I found their official number, I called them up, I talked to them and I said, is this real? They verified that it wasn't real, and then they noted it down to make sure that they were able to document how many people are being impacted by this scam so that they could then reach out and communicate that to users sharing that this is a scam going around. Here's how to protect yourself. So all the ways in which we can protect ourselves and others comes into play. And then what we're also seeing based on what we talked about earlier is like deep fakes and AI is, you know, authority figures or celebrities. We're seeing presidents or prime ministers. We're seeing all sorts of celebrities tell us to buy this magical medicine and do these things. And so a lot of this we need to be aware of in terms of the videos out there and how we're questioning and falling for it. specific to this, always go outside the platform that you're on, search whether these are the right reviews. What are the reviews of this thing? Is this real? In some cases, you might want to consult expert opinions, like such as a doctor. And you can also verify elsewhere based on the platform you're in, whether you've seen it shared too many times, the comments, other sorts of stuff. But just to come back again, I had said this before, trust your spidey sense. You know, if something's feeling off, take a moment to pause. Don't feel like you need to rush on into anything, and contact people through other means and other channels. Okay, the last slide. Oh,
I was going to jump in real quick. So I just wanted to share for everybody as well. I actually do this. I advocate for the Pause Take 9 for this exact reason, even at work, even as I protect the Blue Star family's members, that right there, if something feels off, the pause that protects, it's that simple and effective, so simple and effective. All of these will spot the red flags. In that pause, you'll catch 2 or 3, and the next thing you know, your spidey sense is caught up. And okay, don't click the link. So I just want to advocate for that as well. That even as a cyber practitioner myself, I use it in my daily trainings of, hey, this is the great tool, pause, because these red flags are going to come up. But go ahead, back, Amira.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially in the places you show up, like the workforce and others, it is prime areas and times for scammers and frauders to try to get you to click on the link you shouldn't click on. And a lot of data breaches and cyber attacks result because of human error, which is what we know. And so it's people wishing you clicked on that link. So there's a lot of targeted energy towards that. And you have to be aware that it might not be your boss trying to text you on the side, asking for your social insurance number, or asking you to quickly buy these gift cards for them or something of that side. So it is really good to remember that in all the spaces you show up. Okay, and we are moving to security basics. So we've gone through the idea on how we're protecting ourselves against scams and frauds and how we're going to spot them. And now we're going to go through some security basics, because if someone receives information to your accounts or information about you, we want to make sure that we are making it as hard as possible for them to get that information. And these are all tips in which that will help you to either prevent that from happening, or when it does happen, make sure that they still can't access because you've added extra layers onto your accounts and spaces. And so the first one is really just like how we talk about passwords. So we do use strong, unique passwords because those are the best things we can do for us. But also, if you have the ability to use passkeys or password managers, those have proven way more secure and effective in the field in combating attackers coming in and using your password in other sorts of ways. It also, like a password manager, gives you the ability to change all your passwords in case anything happens very quickly. Set up multi-factor authentication, and you know what? There's ranges on what is best. A phone call or a text is the lowest bar, but we love to use authentication apps as the higher bar here. And so those are ones where we engage with and we download, and we make sure that even if someone gets our password or login or access to something, they can't get in without access, the second layer access, which is MFA. And also, there are vulnerabilities in programs. AI is making it easier to find the vulnerabilities in a lot of the apps and platforms that we use. So when those vulnerabilities become visible, updating your software is the first thing you can do to make sure that you are up with the latest details on the app and platform that are the most secure. So these organizations are finding vulnerabilities every day. They're pushing them through software updates. You want to make sure you have the latest software updates. Better yet, turn on auto updates, because those are really helpful. We at Take9 love recommending to set up a family code word, because family code words ensure that in this world of AI and the ability for people to impersonate anyone, you are secure and you have the ability to verify that it is the family member or close friend that you think it is. So my mom and I have a family code word. I'm not going to share it now, otherwise I'd have to change it with her. But what we do is, if there's ever anyone impersonating me, if there's anyone impersonating her, if there's ever any way I need to send a secure message where she knows it's me, I add my code word to it. and she will know for sure that that is me on the other side. And then don't share with anyone because you want to make sure it's private and secure. And if you do, just change it up. Review your applications and settings and devices, delete old apps, delete old information. The more info and data you have about you out there, the more information others can use in a social engineering tactic. So whether you're reviewing and securing things to be more private, not oversharing your personal details. I have a strict rule on social media where I never share while I'm at a location. I always share post location, and that's a tactic I use to make sure that I'm remaining safe in those spaces. And then also shop trusted sources. There's a lot of like deal platforms or secondary platforms or bootleg places you'll see on Instagram and social media. So make sure you verify the source of where you're shopping so that you know you're getting a legitimate item when you are purchasing it. And this last one, use credit over debit. Credit does have the higher likeliness that you will get your money back. Debit still offers great protection in the instance of a scam, but both of them are actually relatively good compared to other methods. So if you use things like PayPal, Venmo, crypto, gift cards, those ones are very low likeliness that you would get your money back in the instance of a scam. So we recommend just not using them. Okay, threw a lot of information at everyone. You are all secure wizards now at this point. I know that for sure. Next time you are online, you're going to be referencing these spot things to spot, and you're going to be up leveling your security basics. So thank you so much. Just for your reference, we do have a bunch of resources for you. I'm going to kick off and then pass to the rest of the team. But specifically for military and vets, there is a fraud hotline that I wanted to call attention to. And there is an online site called vsafe.gov. I find this site very useful to share with members in the military and veteran community because they produce resources that are specific to the instances you all face and how to protect yourself in those instances. So here on the image, you'll see how to avoid housing scams, which are really common within the vet and military communities. But also there's documents and resources on, natural disaster scams that are quite often occurring, which is very unfortunate. We don't want any natural disasters. And then on top of that, we don't want people taking advantage of it for scams and frauds. So protecting yourself in the spaces via that site and with that platform is a really good first step. The next is a whole bunch of additional government and military resources. So the general rule across the United States is you can report scams at reportfraud.ftc.gov. That is where there's information that the government gathers from scams. It tracks them. It uses it to stop malicious attackers and to just have general awareness on where are attacks happening to how can we protect people in the best way possible. But there is also like signups for a military consumer blog notification where FTC just shares the latest scams there. So militaryconsumer.gov. I mentioned vsafe.gov already. And in the instance that there has been identity theft, there is a specific site, va.gov/identity theft, which you can go to get more resources as well. So there is a lot of support for the community because there's a lot of need and desire to keep you safe amidst these common attacks that occur. And we want to make sure you've got the resources at your fingertips in case you ever need them, hopefully not. All right, I'm going to pass to Benjamin, who's going to take us through some of the neighborhood resources we have.
Yes, and one of the things I'd like to foot stomp here for government, military, public servant, even just everyday Americans is please report. I mean, there's no shame. I mean, like you saw from the stats, it's happening every single day to everybody across all different sectors. So if you could, it really does help to try and lessen it, report at all these different things. You can also just Google, I want to report identity theft. I want to report this, and different things will come up. I think I covered this, but yeah, I'll jump to the neighborhood ones because I think as our neighborhood member here and Blue Star Family staff, the neighborhood, again, bountiful with so many things that it has for military connected communities and everything you could go. So the trainings and career development. So this is something that we offer, free courses not only if you want to be in the tech field, but you can also learn a lot, raise your awareness and your just kind of ability to see these kind of tech things and how the scams might be used. But the best part about this career resources is, just like I said, there's fake recruitment scams going on that are aided by AI. If you come to the neighborhood, we have the resources. We can get you lined up with jobs if you're transitioning, if you're a spouse, different things like that. If you're a vet, we have those resources to where you can trust that what you're clicking on and where we're navigating you to are good resources and that we vetted them before we actually put them on our website. And then personal security partnerships. We have an amazing partnership with Aura. So up to 68% off for your whole entire family. And that covers things like identity, fraud protection, credit monitoring, device protection. And you can do all your family members. You can put it on your laptops, your phones. And it's really great. Maybe an hour or so to set it up. But once you set it up, it will shoot you alerts and say, hey, your credit information was found on this sketchy website. There was a fraud thing that had your email. Not sure why, do you want to come check it out? So they'll actually send you alerts. You don't have to do any of this digging. They'll do it for you. So it's very great, an incredible discount that they offer. But we also have things like LastPass and Keeper. We talked about the password manager. Great resource, something, create the greatest passwords ever that no human could ever guess, and then save them so you don't even have to remember, something that uses technology to, really make sure that you can stay safe. And then one that I really want to highlight that I just learned about recently is AI Ready Veteran. You can search this or you can go straight to their .org here, but it is a safe AI toolbox. So for military veteran, people transitioning, it has things in there so that you don't have to use the free ChatGPT. You don't have to use a free model online and just hope that your information and stuff in there. They have all sorts of great resources. They have a model that's built just to help you with financial wellness. They have one to talk about if you want to chat with a model about transitioning out of the military and how you find housing and how you do these different things. It has already built models that are safe with behind these little walls so that you can chat with them freely. You can upload documents and there's no problem because you're not on the free out in the internet. But they also have a literacy program, which I think is incredible. AI is, well, I think we're in the age of AI at this point. So as a veteran, if you haven't had a lot of great interaction, you can go right here and they have literacy programs where you can use an AI model and you can learn about this technology and make sure that you're literate and ready to get out there in the world and see, how this might affect you. So, but we also have articles and alerts. If you go to the neighborhood and you search cyber, you search scams, you search a lot of these keywords, there's stuff that we have produced that I have been a part of with tips, the red flags, the scam alerts, webinars from the previous years that we've done because this is part of a series. Or you could even just come back and watch this recording. It's all there on the neighborhood. And then, yeah, just like I already told them myself here, but live sessions just like this one that we're doing right now. It's there. We want to live stream this for you. We want to make sure you stay informed. And we want to make sure you can protect yourself as such a vulnerable population. And off to Isa here.
Hi, everybody. So I wanted to give a bit of an overview about what we are building at the Public Service Alliance, PSA, because it's really complementary to what our partners at Take9 and Blue Star Families have built, and we're really grateful for their ongoing partnership. So I'm a former Fed. I never served in the military, but have many friends that did, and very long story short, what we set out to do was to build the first nonpartisan platform for any current or former public servant in this country at the federal, state, and local level, across branches of government and party lines. And we did so because violent threats and several different forms of harassment have been pretty much skyrocketing since about 2013, impacting current and former public servants in almost every state in the country. And whereas 20 years ago, a lot of those threats may have been more focused on high-profile household names, what we've seen in the last several years especially is a threat landscape that has evolved to a place where anyone could become a target. And so we really believe in the value of prevention. It is a lot cheaper to prevent a crisis than to respond to it. Cheaper by way of financial resources, but also in terms of the emotional and psychological toll that it can take on folks and their families. And so PSA basically has two programs that are designed to help any current or former public servant feel safer and more supported, while we also are working on policy reforms to make public service safer nationwide. The first program that we operate is called the Marketplace. Think of it as like AARP for anybody who has ever served in government. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up for a premium account. The premium account is the equivalent of $2 a month. And what it does is it unlocks discounts to dozens of commercial services that we vet to ensure that, to the extent possible, what they say they do and what they actually do, that there's not a lot of daylight between those two things. And then also to provide you with access to experts at affordable rates. And so those experts include former Secret Service and FBI folks that have deep operational expertise that's relevant to helping people level up their privacy and security baseline. And really importantly, we don't accept referral fees or kickbacks from any of the companies that we partner with. We don't have a vested interest in what you use. We just want you to have more affordable access to the tools that we know will help you be safer. And so those tools include things like options for identity theft protection by way of ongoing monitoring of information on the dark web, because once information's on the dark web, it can't be taken down. Things like several different data privacy tools that on a recurring basis will remove personal information like your home address from hundreds of data broker sites and other platforms where people can, either for free or for as little as $1, get information that you may not want them to have. Discounts to home security systems like Brinks Home Security that are typically almost $600 on the market rate through PSA are about $90 instead for our users. For people that might be facing more sophisticated cybersecurity threats, we partner with organizations that provide software that helps with malware detection and removal. And then what you'll also see on our website are a number of different free resources, to include the Take9 resources that we really want folks to be aware of, because again, to the extent that everyone can take proactive steps to increase friction between them and people who might seek to do them harm, the harder it is for them to become a target. On the next slide, we provide an overview of the second program that we operate at PSA. It's called the Security Project. And this is for anyone who wants to nerd out with us about, the state of play in terms of political violence against America's public servants and solutions to start to lower the temperature. We are very much a solutions-oriented team. And so we publish research around things like, for example, the policies that should be adopted in states across the country so that it is illegal to sell your personal information without your consent, and things of the like. So if you want to learn more or sign up for free, you can just go to hellopsa.com and sign up there. And if you have any questions or feedback, we'd love to hear from you, and you can reach out through that website as well.
Well, thank you both. And yeah, just to recap here, I know we'll jump into the questions, but there's resources across all of our sites. You can find stuff from the neighborhood. Visit Pause Take 9. I think Amir covered it. They also have socials. You can, if you put it into your daily life to get a tip, every week or when they post, it really does help. Instead of having to come out, do all this research, you can just get little tips, and then sign up at Hello PSA. Just check it out. It really doesn't hurt to get a little bit more information on all this stuff. So we have all the resources. Here's the Let's Connect. I want to make sure if anyone would like to connect with any of us, we're all here. We'd love to join in on the conversation, or if you have any questions or anything that wasn't covered. We're always here. We love to talk about this stuff. It's something that we all advocate for. We want everyone to stay protected.